Engler, I think everyone's here if you would like to start.
Okay. Let's get going. So I would like to call call the meeting together at 6:02 p.m. I think we can skip past the introduction of members because I think everybody was here last time. If I remember correctly, I'm looking at the agenda from last time. So we're going to skip ahead through the introduction of members since we all were able to introduce last time. We're going to go to review and approval of minutes and agenda. Please review the agenda for today's meeting. Are there any changes or is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
And then I think Sarah's seconding. Sarah, did you second? Okay. Sarah Jane is seconds. It has been moved by Amy Sislak and seconded by Sarah Jane to approve the agenda on November 16th as read corrected. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Sorry. Nope. Okay. Please review the minutes from the agenda from October 19th. Are there any corrections to the minutes or is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
And then we need a second. Okay.
Second.
It has been moved by Amy Sislak and seconded by Saul. Thank you. By Saul to approve the minutes on October 19th as read corrected. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. We're going to move on to public and oral communications now. This is the point on the agenda where members of the public can speak to the SSC. The SSC cannot act on any items not on the agenda. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Does anyone wish to address the council? I don't think we have anybody. So we're going to move on from that. We have let's see, do we have any action items? We do have an action item. So we're going to move on to action items right here. Action item A, we are going to be discussing item number A, or item letter A. Students at Tanque Verde High School are required to take 6 classes at Tanque Verde High School each year with the following caveats. Students may not take any core classes outside of Tanque Verde. Amy, do I keep on reading that? I'm just making sure I'm not being redundant here. Take any core classes outside of Tanque Verde with the exception of electives, credit recovery, or for a grade replacement. 2, students may petition to take fewer than 6 classes their senior year if A, they are participating in an internship that takes place during school hours, B, they are taking a college or university course, or C, they are experiencing a medical hardship that requires them to have a reduced schedule. And then I'm going to ask for discussion on item A, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there any discussion about item A?
Can I speak to the intent of the action item? Okay. As a school that is designed to prepare students for college and career, we believe it's important that we are doing that and that we are offering classes that are relevant and challenging, but also preparing students for the next level. Similar to if you were going to train for the Olympics, you would not take the year off before the Olympics without working hard and preparing yourself. And we really want to make sure that we're offering on-campus opportunities for our students. We know that when they're taking online classes from some subpar institutions, they're not getting the full benefit of having a highly qualified teacher and attending an excellent school. And so we really want to make sure that our families and our students are taking part in that. I think it's important to have that opportunity that if a student has something going on, something that's valid, that we consider that opportunity for them to take fewer than 6 classes their senior year, because we know that stuff is going on or happening. We also know that maybe a student took 7 classes their first 3 years and they want to take fewer than 6 their senior year, but it's really important that students, as they're preparing for college in real life, aren't going home to watch Netflix at noon, for lack of a better example.
Do I, real quick, just clarification, do I have to recognize somebody to talk?
Yes.
Okay, Sarah Jane?
So let's see, I'm unmuted, right? Okay.
Yes.
I have to pull it up while I'm talking. So I had 2 points of concern for this. One of them is section 1, where it says students may not take any core classes outside of Tanca Verde, with the exception of electives credit recovery. For my own experience and several times with other JTED students that I've counseled, my own son took geometry as summer school through Edgenuity. I'm not sure if that would count, but he did that in order to be able to complete his CTE JTED program. If he had not been able to do that, he would have had to leave that program. And that is the class that is preparing him for his future career. So I'm wondering if exceptions could be made on that concept of not taking a core class in school when it's part of a larger career pathway plan.
I would say no, because there's enough for kids to take 2 or 3 electives all 4 years. And so I think if we got into a dead end, like their junior or senior year, and we needed to make a conditional statement for something, but I think it's really important for core classes that we're trying to plan ahead and help students pick their 4-year program so they can avoid that if possible. I'm not saying that we might not consider a special circumstance, but in general, I think that's a poor practice.
And then furthermore, he also took geometry because he wanted to get ahead so that he could take the Algebra 2 in order to get ready for chemistry. I think it was something with his math and his science weren't matching up. And the only way he was going to be able to take the advanced science classes was if he sped up on his math. And that was another reason he chose geometry as the summer school class.
I think so. I don't want to just, thank you for sharing that you're willing to share your son as an example. I appreciate it. I would say that if a student wanted to accelerate or have to move beyond a requirement, I think that's completely appropriate. And so students will have that opportunity to bring that suggestion or that request to the leadership council and kind of plead what's going on and why they would like to take summer school or opt in or opt out. Because we know that there's lots of circumstances that impact students. Right now we have a practice where we have students dodging certain teachers on campus and they're allowed to take summer school. We have students that have not taken a single class in one department in person. And so we really want to avoid that. And if we need to address issues on campus, we'll address issues on campus, but we don't want students to just avoid circumstances. And it doesn't sound like your son, that's not that situation, but we want to make sure we do good work.
And I like the language further down where it said something about, you can request under certain circumstances, and that would allow us to see if this is a student who is trying to get ahead versus be avoidant or leave early senior year, those kinds of things, which will go away anyway. But I'd like to see some kind of language to allow for those kind of caveats.
I would accept a friendly amendment if you would like to add a phrase to that action item to make it more clear.
Oh, okay. I have to write it in my head right now.
And do you want just to add something like where it says, because it lists, student illness, internship, university class, and when just say other circumstances may be considered with leadership council approval or something.
I like that word. I like what you just said. Add that.
Okay. Regina, Dr. Zreda, do you have that?
Other circumstances can be considered with the
leadership team approval, I think she said.
Perfect.
council approval. Right. I added.
And then the second thing I wanted to bring up is under item A, sorry, they can take fewer than 6 classes their senior year. I was hoping that we could add in something about JTED classes under B. They are taking a college or university or JTED course.
I would accept that friendly amendment too.
And that's all I had for that one.
All right, so this is, they are taking a college or university course or JTED course?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's, okay. Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion on item A? I think Amy, Andrea had a question. She came a little bit late for the member of the public section right there, but she has a question about item A. Is she allowed to?
So technically, you can do whatever you would like. Procedure typically says no, but you're the chair, so you get to make the rules.
Okay, well, since it was 6:07 that she got here, that's fine. Andrea?
Not 6:08 though.
Yeah, no, not 6:08, that's too late. Andrea, can you hear me? Go ahead and talk.
Yeah, I just had 2 questions. One, I was wondering about the data, because I know we just switched out of this basically a few years ago. And I know there were lots of reports on, you know, I did a senior exit survey every year on who was going to college and who wasn't going to college. And I don't know what happened to that data, but also I don't know if we've done that in a few years to update that data to have support either way for this. And also I'm worried about the wording of the way it's worded, where it says no other schools classes would be counted, because what about a kid who transfers here from another school? The way that it's worded could potentially keep, you know, a kid who comes here from Vail, who did their first 2 years in Vail and then comes here and took English, you know, freshman English and sophomore English and comes here. That's just a wording issue. Sorry, I didn't know if I was supposed to wait until it was like time to do it, or I'm sorry.
Okay. So I responded. We had in our school report this past year, 80% of the seniors last year went to a 2 or 4 year university. What we're hearing though from our industry partners is that while it's not that you won't get a job if you don't speak a second language, it is becoming more and more preferred that our students have a background in language. And so this is something that around the state, is around the country, is becoming more mainstream, that 2 years is being recommended. Any of our students who are going out of state for college or university really need 3 to 4. And so we think 2 is kind of the bare minimum to really promote strong job skills within or university-bound skills. I don't know about, I don't know what to say about the language. I mean, with students that we accept from out, you know, that are transfers, we have to accept their credit. I don't know if you guys want to look at the verbiage and see if there's a caveat that you feel comfortable with.
I got it. I have to unmute and then switch back and forth because I love technology. Okay. So if we said students at Tanque Verde High School are required to take 6 classes each year that they attend Tanque Verde High School with the following caveats, I think that might fix Andrea's point. Andrea, tell me if you think so.
Okay, then I would accept that friendly amendment as well. We're making our secretary work today.
I have a question on that. As far as classes go, will advisory be considered a class?
No.
Okay.
Amy, as the chair, am I able to ask a question or no?
Yep.
Okay. Kind of along the same lines as Colleen right there. Advisory is not a class. If they do like a TA, is that a class?
Yes. That's a seat time thing. Right now, our advisory, we're not meeting enough for that to count as an academic class. I would say a TA would, because you're assigned a teacher, you're going to class consistently.
So if a senior just for clarification, if a senior takes 5 classes and then there's 6 classes TA, they still make the requirement of 6 classes.
Correct.
Do we have any further discussion on action item A? Okay, then I think we can go to action item B. Item B, students at Tinker Verde High School are required to have 24 credits to graduate, broken down by the following: English 4 credits, math 4 credits, science 3 credits, social studies / econ 3 credits, fine art / CTE 1 credit, world language 2 credits, electives 7 credits, total of 24 credits. We can open up discussion on action item B.
Is the fine
Okay.
art CT
Oh, Colin, go ahead and go.
either one fine art or one CTE or one of each?
One of each.
It's one of each.
Miss Rowe is interested for many levels because she'll have to fix this in Synergy.
I'm not kidding. I was just kidding. 50, 16, 17, 18.
Colleen, is that it or?
6 credits then if they need one each of fine art, one fine art and one CTE. So then would they just need 6 electives?
No, it's one fine art or one CTE.
Or, okay, I thought you said one each. Okay. Cool. The only thing that brings brings a flag for me was how well that helped our numbers, ensuring that kids did take at least one CTE.
Okay, Colleen, is that?
Walking in.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but.
No, go ahead. It was just, that was for our grade, working those CTE numbers in. I know in the past helped us greatly. I just don't know if that, by dropping that, that would affect calculating our grade or not. But I don't know if they're calculating those anymore, so.
Okay. Amy, do you want to respond or can I move on?
Yeah, so I just like Carrie had a question. No, I mean, we're seeing that not every kid is taking a CTE class as it is. And we're also seeing lots of, I don't know the exact percentage. I know Ms. Hilly and Ms. Syeth and I were looking at how many kids are taking 2 or 3 CTE classes and are in multiple programs, which is significant. So we want kids to take CTE, and Ms. Jane has been working really hard with her department to do marketing and try to get students that take classes that want them. But it was also communicated to me from several CTE teachers that they don't want kids forced to take a CTE if they don't want to be there, because of how detailed and important those classes are, and those just aren't really good classes for kids if they don't want to be there.
Sarah, I saw your hand go up first, and then Carrie, and then Tammy. I'm totally pulling a teacher thing. I'm just going to call everybody in order.
Mm-hmm.
My comment was that on the same topic of just having one CTE required versus 2. All CTE programs are 2-year programs. And when we changed the stipulation, it used to be you had to take one fine art and one CTE. And about 5 years ago, we changed that where it could be 2 fine arts, 2 CTEs, or one of each. We were very worried about what would happen with CTE numbers when we did that, and it turned out actually to be in our favor, because a lot of students who really were interested in taking that second year hadn't been able to take it because they had to go get their fine art credit. So we actually saw our year 2 numbers dip for a while and then come back up. So I would strongly advocate that we require 2 years of either fine arts or CTE to really boost that secondary program. If we have another dip in our year 2 enrollment because students say, oh, it's not required, there's no, no teeth there in that program, we could lose significant amounts of fundings and end up having to close programs. So I would really strongly advocate to take one of those elective credits out and put it back in the fine arts / CTE strand.
Okay, Carrie, I think you were up next.
Yes. For the electives, does that, so like would PE become an elective? And then what about like health, student success? Because isn't health maybe a state requirement? No? Okay, it's not in Arizona? Okay. I thought it was here.
So we would really like to still keep student success, and we would, the challenge with student success is we need to find something really great to pair it with for second semester. We don't want to get rid of that. We also would really like to consider offering a senior success. And so some of the schools that we compete with and that serve our Tucson community have a year-long or a semester-long senior class that's dedicated solely to seniors applying for jobs, working on their resume, applying to colleges, applying for scholarships, doing all their financial aid work so that they don't have to be doing it at home. And we would love to even expand that program so that there's something senior year as well as freshman year.
And then Tammy, you're up next.
So I wanted to address the elective CTE portion because I get what Sarah's saying. Food for thought that if we keep it as one fine art or one CTE, if students are really invested into that CTE, as an example, CTE, if they're really invested in that CTE program, they should want to go ahead and take the second year anyway, or the third year. That do we really need to make it a credit requirement, a graduation requirement? If they are fully invested, we should be, as school counselors, really helping support those students on taking that second year. Because just as some examples, I do have some students right now who are taking multiple CTE classes, and they are not really interested in fine arts, but they're only interested in one CTE class, but now they've got another CTE class to fill that requirement, and they're not doing so well in the second CTE program that they're not really interested in, but because of graduation requirements, they kind of had to put it in their schedule. I don't know if that makes sense, but I was just thinking, and I could go either way, I really could. It's just, if we think about it, do we really need to have that be a requirement? Because again, students, they take Spanish, they take the second year because they know that that looks good for college and things like that. Well, same for then CTE. If they want to get that certification or things like that, it's just something that you should just have in your schedule. So I don't know, just some food for thought, but I can support either one.
And then Carrie has a question in the chat. Carrie, do you want to ask it?
Sure. So I think it was 2 years ago, we started the PE alternative credit for every season of a sport completion would be a half a credit. And then the marching band for 1 full year, I believe, went to a quarter credit. Would that policy go away? Would we keep that policy? Because if we kept it, I feel like I wouldn't have a job anymore. You're still on, yep.
Sorry, I don't think there's a need for it anymore because those kids are still going to play sports and still be in band. And we also know there's going to still be a need for and desire for kids to be in PE. And I think the majority of kids that enjoy PE, they need it in their lives. They need that activity in their lives. So I don't foresee it even at other schools that have not had a PE requirement. It has not gone away. It's been still, I think, some of the more popular classes, and it really attracts kids then that really want to be part of that physical fitness during the day. But yeah, I don't think we need to do a sports requirement because it doesn't matter.
It wasn't so much as a requirement, but it was a replacement, as in if you're doing athletics and you don't have time in your day for PE, this was a way to get that PE credit when it was required.
Yeah,
And it
because
goes
there
back
were
to
a lot
just-
of issues.
They just weren't having enough time in the day to do everything that they needed to do.
Is there any more discussion on action item B? Okay. If there's no more discussion on action item B, then we can move on to the report section, the committee reports.
No, you have
We
to
can
vote on both of them, actually.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
I'm going off the cheat sheet. Wasn't there from last time. Okay.
Sorry.
So
I'm sorry, that's my fault. So
That's-
you're gonna have to do, because I roll call vote, so you have to call, do you have the attendance sheet from last week?
from
Or
last
you
time,
can- Or you
do.
can just do it through everybody's Google Faces and say aye or nay.
I have the attendance sheet from last time too. So.
Okay, yeah, just go
we
through
can-
it and then just say if it's yes or no or a, yeah.
And
aye or nay.
Sarah.
Well, just before we move into voting, we talked about a lot of good things, but I didn't hear any yeses or nos. I didn't hear anybody saying, yes, change it, no, don't change it. I think we just had a good discussion. So I'm not sure what I would be voting on at this point.
So right now you would just be voting on the policy as it stands, unless you wanted to make a motion to change the policy. The proposed policy.
And then we have Lindsay. Go ahead.
We talked about the reading of action item A. Could you, before we vote on it, could you just read it out the way that it's proposed?
I think that Gregina, do you have the
Let me
reading that
see
we've
if I have it. That's a good idea. Okay, so item A, students at Canto Verde High School are required to take 6 classes at Canto Verde High School each year they are enrolled at TVHS, with the following caveats. Number 1, students may not take any core classes outside of Canto Verde, with the exception of electives, credit recovery, or for a grade replacement. Number 2, students may petition to take fewer than 6 classes their senior year if A, they are participating in an internship that takes place during school hours, B, they are taking a college or university course or JTED course, C, they are experiencing a medical hardship that requires them to have a reduced schedule. So that's how it reads right now.
And I don't think that we made any changes to, or that we proposed any changes to item B.
And they have to be voted separately.
Okay. So we'll start.
I would add in to what Gregina said, that we had put in a stipulation that students could request an exception to take a core class outside of
I'm sorry. Shoot, where is that?
If we placed it right after or for a grade replacement.
I'm trying to find out where I wrote this. All right, students can request. No, that's how we wrote it. Other circumstances can be considered with the leadership council approval.
Okay. Perfect. So just for clarification, Amy, I have to go one by one, right? So start and call out the name and then they vote.
Yep.
Okay, and then I keep track of the votes?
Yes.
Okay. So because I am the chair, I do not vote.
Correct.
So next one, Amy Sislak.
Aye.
Okay. Gregina,
Aye.
Sarah Jane,
Aye.
Carrie Levering,
Aye.
Tammy Hilly,
Aye.
Colleen Rowe,
Aye.
Saul Magana. I hope I said your last name right.
Aye.
Chris Anderson,
Aye.
and then Sandra. Sandra, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say your last name.
Agnostic.
Agnostic. Sandra Agnostic. And then Sandra, I see that you're on mute. Can we take a vote through the chat too if the speaker's not working?
Yep,
So
absolutely.
Sandra, if you can type into the chat right there, that would be fine too. And then our next one, Eliza Barr.
Aye.
Next one, we have Abby Gar.
Aye.
Next one, we have Maggie Colombo.
Aye.
And then I don't think that we have Addison Goodman here, do we? Am I missing
No,
her?
she's not, but Mason's here.
Okay. So then Mason Borboa.
Aye.
Okay. I think we're still reading on Sandra. But as it's
Aye.
perfect.
I
All
pulled
good.
over.
All good.
Yeah, don't drive and vote.
Goodness, you didn't type that into the chat. That would be scary. All right. With that, we have our total is 13 ayes to 0 nays. Action item A has passed. And then we move on to action item B. And again, I don't vote. So I'm going to move on to Amy Sislak.
Adam, can I put a motion out there that we change it to 2 years of CTE?
Yes, I think so.
Yep, and then what has to happen then is people vote on her amendment, and then there is a vote for the whole thing again.
Okay.
So
So
my full amendment would be 2 years of fine arts, 2 years of CTE, or 1 of each, and then reduce the elective number from 7 to 6.
Regina, are you getting that down too?
Yeah, I'm just need a little moment, okay?
All good. Me too. And then Carrie, I saw your hand go up. Do you want to?
I was just gonna ask Sarah for clarification on if it was all of that or just the 2. So she answered it before I asked.
So I got 2 years fine arts, 2 years CTE, or either 1 year each. Is that how, Sarah, you wanted? Okay. And the total electives become 6.
Okay. So we're going to vote on the motion to move the CTE requirement to either the CTE fine arts requirement to either 2 years of fine arts, 2 years of CTE, or 1 year of each, and then the electives to a total of 6. Did I word that all right? Okay. So we'll start Amy Sislak.
No.
Regina
Yes.
Jureta. Sarah Jane.
Yes.
Carrie Levering.
Yes.
Tammy Hilly.
No.
Colleen Rowe.
Yes.
Saul Magana.
Yes.
Chris Anderson.
Yes.
Sandra. Oh, I forgot how to say your last name already. It's been like a minute.
Agnostic.
Agnostic. Got it. Okay, Sandra.
No. No, thank you.
Eliza Barr.
No.
Abby Gar.
No.
Maggie Colombo.
Yes.
And then Mason Borboa.
Yes.
Okay. After the votes, our total yays, we have 8. Nays, we have 5. The motion passes. So I think that means that we changed the wording of it, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we're changing the wording of the CTE fine arts requirement to 2 years of fine arts, 2 years of CTE, or 1 year of each, and then the electives will go to 6.
How do we indicate all of that alternative way in that row? How do you want me to indicate that?
I would just put a disclaimer underneath it because I know it was set up as a table. And I would just say that an amendment was
Okay.
made by Sarah Jane to change this and then just change that.
So basically, so people who read it, they understand that you can mix and match.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. And then now, because we passed that motion, we don't vote on the action item itself.
Yep, now you vote on the whole action item with now the amended language.
Got it. Okay, so now we're going to vote on action item B with the amended language of 2 years of fine arts, 2 years of CTE, or 1 year of each, and then moving the electives from 7 to 6. Okay, so we're going to start with Amy Sislak.
Aye.
Okay, Regina Jareta,
Aye.
Sarah Jane,
Aye.
Carrie Levering,
She said
Carrie.
it. She was just
Oh,
muted.
she did. Sorry, I'm looking at like 3 screens here. Tammy Hilly,
So I still will stick with my previous answer, so no.
okay. Colleen Rowe,
Aye.
Saul Magana,
Aye.
Chris Anderson,
Aye.
Sandra Agnosic.
Perfection. Aye.
I really took a guess on that one, so I'm glad I was right. Eliza Barr,
Aye.
Abby Gar,
Aye.
Maggie Colombo,
Aye.
and then Mason Borboa.
Aye.
Okay.
Adam?
And yes.
In the chat, it says that you skipped Lindsay Kowalski.
Oh, sorry, Lindsay. Lindsay Kowalski. Are you voting aye? I see in the
Aye.
chat. Okay, got it. So, with that, we have 13 ayes, 1 nays. So action item B has passed. Okay. And then now we can move on to the reports, the committee reports. We will start with principal's report first.
All right, thanks guys. Thanks for getting through those action items. So we are going to have a policy document that's going to be on our site council website as well as linked to our main website, so that all the policies are available for anybody who wants to view it, and it's really clear. And so if we ever need to revisit policy, we will just have it in one place. So stay tuned for that. These will be our, besides our constitution of who makes up our site council, that's a separate document, but we just have our first 2 official school policies for our document. So that's really exciting. Stay tuned for more. I'm sure we can come up with lots of stuff and lots of rules we want to do. So some good news. So our bond passed a couple weeks ago. And so that means more money for our school. We are meeting with architect. We have an architect hired. We're using Swayman Associates for our new build for the school facility board build, as well as what we'll be doing with the bond. It also means more technology in classrooms, upgraded boards, those digital touchscreen TVs, laptops that should not be in a museum, and really making sure our classrooms are up to date for our teachers and our students. So we will, again, be adding more classrooms, more space. We're looking at building a student commons, like a student union that would house our library, conference rooms, a coffee shop, and just really cool gathering places for our students and teachers. And we should start that early this spring. So I'm going to go visit some schools on Wednesday, actually, to get some more ideas with our architect. We're really, really excited. Also, some good news with 208 passing. That's going to bring more money to our teachers and potentially being able to hire more support staff, such as more counselors for our district, instructional coaches. So that is in the hands right now of our legislature. So just something to note that that's not going to just automatically trickle down. They still have to decide as the ledge how they're going to distribute it towards. And sometimes that's challenging in our state. So don't be discouraged if that was something you voted for and you're excited about it. It just, like everything else in Arizona, it takes a little bit of time, but that was still passed. We are getting ready for Thanksgiving break next week. If you can't believe it, we will have Wednesday off before Thanksgiving. I think that's important to know because I didn't know, and I'm still extremely excited that we get the day before Thanksgiving off. We're also preparing for picking classes. So that's why these two policies were really important today, because we're putting together promotional information. Our CTE programs put on a wonderful fair a couple weeks ago, and we're really advertising our new courses. So some of the classes that we'll be offering next year include AP Art History, Research Methods. So AP Art History is just the study of history, getting to really learn about art. It's a really fun elective. Research Methods is for students who would like to do research in a lab off campus, and they will be essentially matched in a professional lab to work all year and get experience. We are also going to be adding dual enrollment writing as a PIMA credit for our seniors. It is a free class. They will get automatic college writing credit for that, pending they pass it, which all of our students will. And we're also adding AP Environmental Science, which will be the honors freshman science class. We're really excited about that. So we do have some other things in the works, but that is a slate that we know of right now. See, Ms. Hilly's dog has joined us for site council. It's the best part about remote learning these days. There's dogs and kids joining meetings. So that's on tap right now too. So there's a lot going on right now. I encourage you, I posted a link about how to send a positive note or a shout out to a staff member. Everyone's just worn out. Everyone's tired. Everyone's trying to do a million things for a million people. So I encourage you to send a note, to check in on people, because the end of the semester is hard anyway. This is the time of year everyone starts to get a little wiggy and starts to crash, and balancing remote students and online students is a lot. We still don't know if and when we will shut down. It could happen. We could be told by Pima County, you should not be coming back to school and you won't be able to finish the semester. We don't know. So we're just going to keep plugging and working hard and doing what we're supposed to until we know otherwise. We've been very fortunate on our campus. We've only had one kiddo that was exposed, that came on campus that was possibly in that during that exposure time. Pima County Health does not think so, but we still wanted to notify families just so that we were transparent. We know that we've had a number of kids, probably over a dozen now, who've had COVID, but those students have not been on campus when they were in that exposure time, and so we don't necessarily send notifications for everybody, but our families have done a really nice job of when they're concerned, when they think their kid has a bug, or when someone at work might have met a friend of a friend of a friend that got exposed, they're taking it seriously and staying home. And that's what we ask. Even if you just think it's allergies or a cold, if it feels unconventional, stay home. We don't want to risk it. I know that our superintendent is sending information out about some family tips and tricks for the holidays, if you're willing to listen to those techniques and strategies. But the longer that we're able to take some extra precautions, the more likely we are to stay on campus. So those are the biggies right now. Any questions? Okay.
We're going to move on to tax credit and finance committee report.
Hey, everybody. Very brief. Where is it? I have the number. So far, obviously the tax credit it will start to become more prevalent in January, but the greatest need tax account right now has about $17,266.44. And I'm also working with Mrs. Montano to streamline the internal application process for the greatest need. And so that's where we're at with that. We'll have more information obviously, as tax credits start to hopefully roll in a little bit more. Also, I'm also the vice president of the parent teacher student group, and they're working on providing some needed relief for the staff and other fundraisers, like a bingo night through at 49ers and so forth, kind of like what they did with the trivia night. So that's information from the parent teacher student group, and then the tax credit. Does anybody have any questions? I love
Can you
silence.
repeat the numbers for me?
Yes, I'm sorry. I will put it in the chat for you.
Why don't you?
I will help you out. So, and I'm gonna, and so if anybody has any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. I apologize for being late. I'm deleting
Thank you.
stuff. So have a wonderful evening.
Okay, thank you, Chris. We're gonna go on to the Leadership Council report. Do we have anybody from Leadership Council, Amy, that represents that?
Carrie, Tammy, Sarah, there's anything else you guys want to add? I kind of mentioned some of the stuff we've been chatting about.
Yeah, I was going to say you covered a lot of what's been, well, we didn't meet today, but I feel like last week, a lot of what you had just said, I think we went over. I don't know, Sarah or Carrie, for missing anything.
The only thing I can think of was the conversation about finals week and the possible bell schedule and all that kind of stuff. I don't have it in front of me. I just remember it being in the.
Yeah, no, thanks for bringing that up. So that was approved by our superintendent. So we will have half days that last week in December for final exams so that teachers can grade in the afternoons. Does that sound like a fun afternoon? So they can buckle down and those 3 hours we give them. But we will be having those early dismiss times that week. That was approved. Thank you, Carrie.
And it's going to change to 4 days instead of 3 like we had it, right? 4, yeah. Yay.
Okay, perfect. We're gonna move on to our Parents Association report.
Sorry about that. I rolled it all into one, so I apologize for that.
You were just thinking ahead. That's all good.
Yeah, trying. Yeah,
Love
I
it.
apologize for not following Robert's rules and protocol. Does anybody have any questions about parent teacher student group I may not have addressed? No. So, all right. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Chris. And then last but certainly not least, student council report.
Hey guys. Okay, so right now, if you guys did or did not know, we are in the middle of homecoming. So today was actually the first day of our Spirit Week. So the theme to this year's homecoming is upside down, or it's a Stranger Things theme. And so today's Spirit was Battle of Starcourt, where the seniors and juniors were black and the sophomores and freshmen were white. And on Wednesday and Thursday, I'm pretty sure, is what we're calling Chapter 80. It's an 80s decade attire day. And then next week we have Life in Hawkins, where we dress as one of our favorite characters from the Stranger Things series. And over this past weekend, we had our homecoming voting. So like people voted for their senior class and staff cult. And I'm assuming it's the day of homecoming, but we are having like a game at lunchtime for the court royalty to play. And so that's happening. And we're also, for homecoming, we're looking into streaming the homecoming football game at a movie theater, like for more people to come, because they can't all be at the football game as much as we may want to be. And in December, we are having a senior drive-in. So that's going to be fun. And we're also thinking that in December, we are kind of thinking of decorating the school campus festively for the holidays. So I think we're still thinking about that one and getting things approved and all of that process. And as we did last year with the blankets, we are thinking of also doing what we call a do good project for this year. So we're still coming up with that. So Any questions? Anyone?
Eliza, I only have one question. When is that homecoming game? Which Friday?
Anyone? Does anyone know the answer to that question?
27th, that's Black Friday.
Gotcha.
So not next Friday, not this Friday, next Friday.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions, but I think it was last year or 2 years ago, we did the door decorating contest. And when you mentioned like decorating the campus festively, I really enjoyed that. So I highly support that idea. I think it's excellent.
Okay. Any other questions for student council? Perfect. Okay. Then we are going to move on. Just one quick thing. Amy, I don't know how I mentioned this, but I'm just gonna mention it. The January 18th meeting, I think that's on Martin Luther King Day, and no school. Are we still gonna have a meeting on that day?
I make a motion to change it.
Perfect. And so I just say we have a motion to change the January 18th site council meeting
To January 19th. I'm
to
guessing.
January 19th, that Tuesday.
That's fine, or you can change the week. It's up to you, whatever you guys would like.
I like to keep
Sarah,
it
you
the
have your
same
hand
week.
up.
I was just gonna say if we could put it all in one motion. I was wondering if we could motion to change the date of the next meeting, which is on December 21st, as that's winter break already.
Yep, you're right. It should be, I think, the week prior. I think that was a typo on my fault.
Okay, good. So that would be
Okay.
the 14th, I think, instead of the 21st.
Yeah,
We could do
we could just put
both
all that in
motions.
writing would be great.
Okay, so put all that together in a motion. Okay, so I don't know how to say this. I'm just gonna say it. There's a motion to change 2 meetings, the December 21st meeting to the Monday, December 14th, and the January 18th meeting to January 19th, the next day. And do I have to do? Can I just do a like a?
I second.
day?
It's just, you can do a whole group.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a roll call. It's just everybody together.
Okay, so do we have a Chris, you
Second.
motioned it, right?
Yes, sure.
So then we need a second.
Second.
Carrie seconds it. So Chris Anderson motions to move the next 2 dates of the site council meeting. Carrie Levering seconds it. And to approve the minute. I'm trying to make sure I say this right. I have a motion. All those in favor of adjourning today, or not adjourning today's meeting, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
All those opposed say nay. Perfect. The motion passes. We're going to move those 2 dates. And then are there any other things? I think we should be good. We're going to move on then. All future agenda items should be emailed to Adam Shingler and Amy Sislak at least 4 days prior to future meetings. Site council meeting time and place will be posted 3 days in advance on the TVHS website and front office window. Please observe proper decorum and schedule your time to be able to attend the entire site council meeting. Each meeting should last 60 to 90 minutes and will be adjourned by 7:30 p.m. A quorum, your time, and your participation are valued assets of the TVHS site council. At this time, I would like to call to adjourn this meeting. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
So I have a motion from Chris Sanderson. Amy Sislak has seconded this motion. All those in favor of adjourning today's meeting say aye.
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 All those
Aye.
opposed to adjourning say nay. I officially adjourn this meeting at 6:56 p.m.